Good afternoon, I'm Chris Nachkate. Welcome to APTN National News. Thank you for joining us. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau attended the final day of the Assembly of First Nations meeting in Ottawa. A couple of federal party leaders also attended. They were pressed on various issues ranging from deaths by police to residential school denialism. Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet was even called out by the chief of the Kahnawake Mohawk Nation. APTN Savannah Craig has the story.
I have been across this country and I've met with many mothers who are losing their children to your policing.
A group of mothers, including Martha Martin, confronted Prime Minister Justin Trudeau at the final day of the Assembly of First Nations in Ottawa. Martin lost her daughter Chantel Moore during an interaction with police.
How many more of our people have to die at the hands of your police?
Her son died 5 months later while in police custody.
Mothers are tired of burying their children.
Martin and other mothers asked Trudeau to meet with them and to do more to end the death of First Nations people during interactions with police.
Every day I wake up knowing that I'm never, ever going to see my son or talk to him. And his last words were, "I don't want to die. I don't want to die. They killed my boy."
The crowd stood in solidarity with the mothers, cheering them after they shared their stories. Trudeau says his government will continue to address systemic racism and colonialism that exists within institutions in Canada.
No mother should ever have to bury her child, let alone 2 children. We will support the path forward that you see to make sure we create a world in which no mother has to grieve her child.
Other prominent issues brought forth to the Prime Minister and his ministers is criminalizing denialism of residential schools and unmarked burial sites.
Denying or minimizing these atrocities is a direct insult to survivors, families, and communities who continue to live with intergenerational trauma caused by these institutions.
The government did not directly respond to this. Chief of Kahnawake Victor Bonspiel demanded an apology from the feds over the 1990 Oka crisis.
We would like an open apology and written apology that you sent your army to attack our nation.
Other federal party leaders gave remarks at the AFN, including New Democratic Party leader Jagmeet Singh, who says he wants to see the Red Dress Alert System pilot project expanded.
I think the Highway of Tears in BC would be a very logical next step to get the pilot project expanded.
This year's AFN did not go without frustrations from chiefs towards Canadian leaders. Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet was called out by Kahnawake Grand Chief Cody Daibo.
I welcome you to Kahnawake and we can have a conversation about what our relationship should be and how your people can start packing up.
Savannah Craig, APTN National News, Ottawa.
APTN News has learned that the Grand Chief of the Southern Chiefs Organization in Manitoba was sent to hospital earlier this week after a fight outside of a bar in downtown Ottawa. The incident took place just before day 1 of the Assembly of First Nations Special Assembly in Ottawa. According to multiple sources, Daniels and 2 band councillors from a First Nation in Manitoba were involved. At this point, it's not clear if Daniels is still in hospital. One chief close to Daniels refused to answer questions about the incident. APTN has confirmed that Lake Manitoba First Nation Chief Cornell McLean is now the acting SCO Grand Chief. McLean, when reached via text, offered no comment, but did confirm he is acting Grand Chief for, quote, a very short term. Ottawa Police told APTN News it does not confirm incidents by names, but confirmed they were called to an address in Ottawa's Byward Market area for a disturbance at 2:30 a.m. on Tuesday morning. A man was transported to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Repeated calls and emails to SCO Communications have not been answered. You can find more on this story on our website at aptnnews.ca. Leaders from the Fort Chipewyan community are also in Ottawa this week. They talked with the federal government on how to fix the contaminated dock they say is posing a health risk to residents. APTN's Chris Stewart spoke to Athabasca Chipewyan First Nation Chief Alan Adam on how the talks went.
Back in October, the Fort Chipewyan Métis Nation, the Mikisew Cree, and Athabasca Chipewyan First Nations revealed that a federally owned dock known as the Big Dock had been contaminated with toxic hydrocarbons, arsenic, and metals that were above safety standards. This was from a 2017 risk assessment that also said that the contamination would not be a health issue for humans unless the water or groundwater was ingested within 60 feet of the dock. But the members there have been using land near there for harvesting plants and recreational use.
The women, the family members, mothers, and everything are worried because of the fact that the kids go swimming down at the dock. The community uses the dock 8 months out of the year when they go out to the land, into the bush. They launch their boat from those areas.
Councillor Tammy Tuckero, President Kendrick Cardinal, and Chief Alan Adam flew from Northern Alberta to Ottawa and spoke Tuesday to a federal standing committee on transportation, infrastructure, and communities to communicate how important it is to deal with the cleanup of the dock and area. The dock is vital to evacuation efforts in case of wildfire.
It was one of the main goals to get that on the agenda and making sure that, we from the community have a safe passage out of the community, but also to deal with some of the contamination that is there that were found, that the findings are unfortunately are there, and we have to deal with that as well.
Chief Adams says that Transport Canada has been hiding several studies of the dock since 1997.
We're talking with the federal government, and we're making sure that they're accountable for these actions, and that Transport Canada will, be held accountable and will come to the community and remediate the dock itself, because that has to be fixed up, for us to continue moving forward.
Adam believes the government will now be quick to act on undoing the damage done.
I'm quite optimistic on that notion alone, because there's going to be special equipment and machinery coming in, and it's going to be hauled into the community, and it's just not going to happen overnight. And if we're going to do it, we're going to do it properly.
In a statement to APTN, the Minister of Transport's office said, Minister Anand spoke to the First Nations to hear their concerns directly. In response to the concerns raised by the First Nations, Transport Canada will accelerate work to remediate the uplands portion of the land and will work collaboratively with the First Nations to update the 2017 risk assessment for the in-water contamination. An updated risk assessment will inform next steps with regards to remediation. Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Edmonton.
Saskatchewan RCMP say they are looking for 2 men who are connected to a homicide in the White Bear First Nation earlier this week. On Tuesday morning, RCMP received a call of an injured person at a residence in White Bear. When the officers arrived, they located the body of a 33-year-old man from Coronach who has been identified as Talon Lone Thunder. RCMP are now looking for 22-year-old Jeremy White Bear, who has been charged with second-degree murder, and 26-year-old Dwayne Maxey, who has been charged with manslaughter. Both suspects are from White Bear First Nation. White Bear is 5'10", 160 pounds. He has brown eyes and black hair and has multiple tattoos, including a cross on the side of his face and the word "faded" on his forehead. RCMP say there is no imminent risk to the public safety. If you do see White Bear or Maxey, you're asked to contact RCMP or Crime Stoppers. We're always looking for your feedback or story ideas. Here's how you can continue the conversation. If you have a story you want to share, send us an email to news@aptn.ca. To read and watch our stories, go to aptnnews.ca. And you can also find us online on your favorite social media sites, including TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and X. Follow APTN News to join the conversation and see our latest stories. An eviction notice has been given to the new residents in the Caldwell First Nation in Ontario. We'll bring you an update to that story when we're back in about 3 minutes. Welcome back. The death of a man in Alberta late last month in the community of Pine Creek has been ruled Calgary's 16th homicide of the year. Although police say the details around Louis Trace Shot Both Sides' death are convoluted, his girlfriend is speaking out in hopes of finding answers about how and why he died. CTV's Tyson Fedor reports.
Gracie Black Rabbit is left pondering a future she thought she had with her boyfriend Trace Shot Both Sides. He was found dead in a Pine Creek home in the early hours of November 22nd.
The last few days he was here, I took him out for dinner. We had our last little date at Boston Pizza. And, you know, he was a guy that I can talk to and confide in.
Police were called to the 100 block of Creekstone Drive Southwest around 2:40 a.m. for a person in medical distress. That's where they found the 26-year-old dead at the scene. It's now been deemed a homicide.
It's a complicated one for reasons that I can't go into at this point in time, but investigators are working very hard. And again, I would still renew the call to say if anybody has any information about that, it would be great to come forward.
Black Rabbit says she and Trace's family are seeking answers surrounding how he died, who killed him, and why.
It's just so hard that no one knows what happened, and it just it hurts so much. It hurts that no one can get their closure.
Police tell CTV News that 2 people were taken into custody for questioning, but no charges have been laid. Police will not say how Shot Both Sides died. For loved ones, Black Rabbit says that her boyfriend was also a young dad to a little boy who no longer has a father.
Just seeing him here, and he would always talk about his son, and you know, he really loved his son so much, and now that he's gone, I'm just really feeling for him and his family.
Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Calgary.
To Ontario now, where a number of Caldwell First Nation residents say they are being evicted after installing security cameras outside of their homes. They say they have been told they have to get out before the new year, but are keeping faith that they can stay put. CTV's Chris Campbell has more.
A group of Caldwell First Nation residents are hanging on to hope they can keep living in their celebrated homes on their ancestral lands in the recently revived First Nation Reserve.
This is supposed to be a place where we're going to finish off, where my mom is going to come and finish her days, right?
Angela Duckworth says she and 5 others, including her 81-year-old mom, are living in fear, having received eviction notices to be out by December 26th after installing security and doorbell cameras outside for personal safety, an alleged breach in the tenancy agreement.
We moved here because it's geared to income. We moved here so we could live as a community and feel safe. And now we're facing that eviction. Where do we go? Housing is a challenge. Affordable housing is a challenge.
Right now, it's kind of disappointing.
Marie Duckworth says she's not worried about being forced to leave despite having just moved in last Sunday, but is let down that it's come to this.
I don't think they really realize just how childish their actions are, you know? And when they begin to realize and maybe straighten out, things will be better, hopefully.
It's unreal, surreal.
They say the cameras were installed with approval from the housing manager, but things changed after the last Caldwell election.
They say that our doorbell cameras can reach the sidewalk and we can hear their conversations. Trust me, that's not what we're doing, okay? I buy a lot from Amazon. I'd kind of like to know when it comes.
I have rights, and I'm going to stick by them.
Former Caldwell councillor Doug Heil says they'll sue if they have to take their cameras down, saying residents have the right to security and that they've hired a lawyer and are getting counsel from BMAC, the Band Members Alliance and Advocacy Association of Canada.
They have till tomorrow to respond to the lawyer, and what actions happen after that is that's their call.
They say there's been no communication from the Caldwell chief. CTV News reached out to Caldwell First Nation along with Chief Nikki Van Oorschot and was told only the chief could speak to the matter. However, calls, emails, and texts have gone unreturned as of news time.
We're going to fight. This is our home.
I'm not going anywhere. I plan to go and get my Christmas tree today.
At Caldwell First Nation near Leamington, Chris Campbell, CTV News.
We now want to tell you about this week's web poll questions. Over on our website, we ask, are you affected by the ongoing Canada Post strike? Your answers are yes or no. The next question we ask, are you following the Assembly of First Nations meeting this week in Ottawa? Yes or no. And our third question, do you think Métis people should be included in the federal non-insured health benefits program? Yes or no. Have your say at www.aptnnews.ca. We will announce the results next week. An elderly couple in northern Saskatchewan have been living in a camper trying to stay warm this winter. That story when we come back. Starting on the east, St. John's 4, Charlottetown 0. Cartwright 2, the Grand River -7. Saguenay -7, Gaspé 0. Ottawa -7, Sault Ste. Marie -4. -8 in Sudbury, Wawa -8 as well. -27 in Churchill, Thompson -23. -9 in Gimli, Princess Harbour -11. -4 in Saskatoon, North Battleford, sunny and -3. Stony Rapids -14, Uranium City -11. Partly cloudy and high level with -8, Fort Chipewyan 1. Rain and Red Deer at 2, Calgary 6. 7 in Campbell River, Bella Coola 5. Sand Spit 9, Smithers 5. Beaver Creek -14, Mayo -7. Yellowknife -8, Wrigley -13. Sax Harbor -24, Pawlatuck -19. Baker Lake -24, Cambridge Bay -21. And Clyde River -21, Aguluk -23. As the weather continues to get colder, a family from Pelican Narrows in northern Saskatchewan has been trying to survive and stay warm. Marianne and Gordon Ballantyne have been living in a donated camper that was given to the family to live in after their house burnt down this past summer. The 75-year-olds both live with diabetes, and the family says they have been on the Peter Ballantyne Cree Nation housing list for a number of years. The elderly couple also helped look after 19 grandchildren and great-grandchildren, with a number of the younger ones living with them in the camper. The camper has no running water, and Marianne and Gordon have kept it heated using a wood stove. Pelican Narrows is located about 380 kilometers northeast of Prince Albert. With more on this, we're joined now by their granddaughter, Michaela Renus from Edmonton, who is speaking on their behalf. Michaela, thank you for speaking with us. Can you explain the current situation your grandparents and their grandchildren are going through right now?
Yes, for sure. Thank you for taking your time to talk to me. Right now, my grandparents and their grandchildren are facing extreme hardship. At the moment, they are living in conditions that nobody should, especially elderly with their health conditions. Currently, they're living in a camping trailer that is not suitable for winter. There's no heat, no electricity, and there's no functioning toilet. And right now we are desperately seeking support to ensure that they can live with some dignity and safety.
You and the family also worry a lot because of their current age and their health condition. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so their health and their age is a major concern for us. My grandparents, who should be living in stability, are instead forced to live in conditions that are taking a toll on their physical and mental well-being. Their health issues are worsening due to the stress and cold and the lack of basic needs. And not anyone, like no one should be living like this, especially our elders. So, yeah.
Can you explain what happened to your grandparents' home earlier this summer?
Yes. So this past summer, their house burnt down, and that left them with nothing. They had no place to go, and they were living in tents. And before the camper trailer was brought to them, that's what they were doing, was living in the tents and living with, I think it was a family member's, I guess, girlfriend. I'm not quite too sure, but that left them vulnerable, and so the the trailer was brought for a temporarily I guess shelter, and this trailer is not equipped for winter. There's no water, no heat, electricity, and there's not even a way to use the toilet. And so this makes it very difficult for them to live a normal life. And it's really heartbreaking to see them suffer like this, especially now that winter's here.
Michaela, what is your message to Pelican Narrow's leadership, but also the Prince Albert Grand Council in this matter, and what do you think needs to be done?
Yeah, so to the Pelican Narrow's leadership and the Prince Albert Grand Council, I'm pleading with you to take a step in immediate action. My grandparents and their grandchildren cannot endure these conditions any longer. They need a safe place to be staying in, somewhere warm, and even something that is functional to even live in. Our elders are the heart of our community, and leaving them in this state of neglect is unacceptable. And we need transparency, accountability, and immediate action to ensure that they're not left behind.
And finally, Michaela, on top of all of this, you worry again because the previous chief has asked for help earlier this year from both the Prime Minister and the Premier because of the ongoing violence and drugs there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the broader challenges in our community, such as like the violence, the drugs, it adds a layer of worry. The systematic issues make it hard for families like mine to get the help that they need. It feels like there's no sense of safety or urgency to address these problems. We need leaders at all levels, local, federal, provincial, to come together to create a real change. And without action, families will continue to suffer and the cycle of hardship will persist.
Well, Michaela, we'll have to leave it there. I thank you for speaking with us, and definitely keep us updated if you hear anything following this.
Yes, thank you.
APTN News has reached out to the Peter Ballantyne Cree Nation regarding the elderly couple, and we have yet to hear back. That's your daytime newscast for this Friday, December 6th. Dennis Ward is back for your evening newscast with more stories. Make sure to join us then. From everyone at APTN National News, hi miigwech, masicho. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again. Ekse.